Somewhere right now, someone just received a raise. Within days, they'll buy a nicer car. Within weeks, they'll sign a lease on a bigger apartment. Within months, they'll be broke again. They've fallen into a trap so common that millions of people experience it without even realizing it's happening. These financial traps don't announce themselves. They disguise themselves as normal behavior, as deserved rewards, as reasonable choices. Yet they've kept more people poor than any single outside circumstance ever could. Today, you'll discover the biggest financial traps that destroy wealth and how to avoid them completely. The lifestyle inflation death spiral. The first and most lethal trap is lifestyle inflation. As income increases, many people fall into the trap of spending more instead of saving or investing, which can lead to financial instability over time. This trap is insidious because it feels deserved. You worked hard. You earned more. Why shouldn't you enjoy it? The answer is simple: enjoying it slowly is fine. Enjoying it immediately is financial suicide. MC Hammer earned $30 million in a single year during the early 1990s. At 30, he was one of the most successful artists on the planet. Hammer's downfall was a classic case of lifestyle inflation. He hired a massive entourage, bought dozens of luxury cars, and owned a $30 million mansion. By 1996, he filed for bankruptcy with $13 million in debt. His monthly payroll was $500,000 for 200 people who did nothing but exist around him. His custom mansion had gold-plated gates and a bowling alley. When his popularity dropped even slightly, the entire structure collapsed instantly. The trap catches even the successful. Rapper 50 Cent renovated an 18-bedroom mansion in Connecticut and purchased several luxury cars, leading to the loss of most of his fortune. Like Hammer, 50 Cent earned massive amounts. Unlike Hammer, he made additional strategic mistakes that multiplied the damage. The pattern repeats endlessly because people confuse income with wealth. High income is not wealth. Wealth is what remains after your expenses are subtracted from your earnings. If you earn $500,000 and spend $499,000, your wealth increased by $1,000. That $1,000 matters infinitely more than the $500,000 you earned. The credit card compound destruction. The second trap is high-interest debt, particularly credit card debt. One of the financial pitfalls you may need to be warned about are debt traps, which can occur when you continue to borrow money in order to pay off debts, leading to compounding debts and more interest fees. This creates what researchers call a debt spiral. You borrow for one emergency. Then another emergency arrives before you've paid the first. So you borrow again. Now you're paying interest on interest, trapped in a cycle where your monthly payments barely touch the principal. The mathematics are brutal. A $5,000 balance at 25% interest costs $1,250 annually in interest alone. If you pay only minimum payments, that $5,000 debt could take decades to eliminate while costing you thousands in interest. Meanwhile, that money isn't available for investment. It's hemorrhaging to creditors instead of compounding for your future. If you cannot pay your credit card bill in full at the end of the month, you are ignoring debt. And this is a surefire way to stay stuck in a fiscal mess. The high interest rates on these convenient instruments keep you locked into monthly payments that pay very little on the principal. The trap catches people through small decisions that compound into catastrophe. One purchase you can't quite afford, then another. Then you're paying minimum payments, and the balance somehow grows even though you're paying something every month. The payday loan quicksand. The third trap is payday loans and other predatory lending. When cash is tight, payday loans or high-interest personal loans may seem like a solution, but they often come with aggressive fees and high interest rates that trap you in a cycle of borrowing. A payday loan works like this. You borrow $100 for 2 weeks. The fee is $20. That seems reasonable until you calculate the annual percentage rate. It's 521%. When the loan comes due, most people can't pay it back. So they pay the fee again to extend the loan another 2 weeks. By rolling it over 3 times, you've paid $60 to borrow $100 for 6 weeks. This trap catches people during emergencies when judgment is compromised and desperation clouds thinking. The person in financial crisis isn't thinking clearly about long-term consequences. They're thinking about making it to next payday. Payday loans promise short-term relief but deliver long-term devastation because the same emergency that forced the first loan usually repeats before repayment. The absence of an emergency fund. The fourth trap is having no emergency fund. An emergency fund provides peace of mind and protects you from the financial strain of unforeseen expenses. Without one, every surprise becomes a financial crisis. Your car breaks down. You can't afford the repair, so you take a loan. Your child gets sick. You can't cover the medical bills, so you charge them. These aren't character flaws. They're inevitable consequences of having zero financial buffer. Building an emergency fund seems impossible when you're living paycheck to paycheck, but starting is the only solution. Even $100 saved represents progress. That $100 prevents you from needing a 500% payday loan. $1,000 saved covers most car repairs or medical co-pays. 3 to 6 months of living expenses eliminates the need for any high-interest borrowing during job loss or illness. The trap deepens because without an emergency fund, every emergency becomes debt, and debt makes it harder to save an emergency fund. The investment avoidance trap. The fifth trap is avoiding investment entirely due to fear or ignorance. Some middle-class individuals don't invest because they don't know how to go about it, or they invest only in one or two things rather than diversifying their portfolios, which can be extremely limiting financially. Money sitting in a savings account earns nothing while inflation erodes its value. Over 30 years, inflation reduces purchasing power by more than 2/3. A dollar saved today buys only 30 cents worth of goods in 30 years. Without investment, saving becomes a slow loss. The trap catches people through complexity or fear. They think investing requires expertise or large amounts of capital. They see market volatility and think it's too risky. So they save in low-interest accounts, watching inflation destroy their purchasing power, telling themselves they're being safe. They're actually being financially self-destructive because safety in this context means growth that outpaces inflation. The sixth trap is tax avoidance and poor tax management. Like so many of his colleagues, Nas found himself in a very, very deep hole with the IRS, facing a tax debt of nearly $6.5 million. Ron Isley found himself in major financial trouble when he didn't file his taxes for years, owing $5 million in back taxes, prompting the IRS to seize his yacht and vehicles in 1997. Tax debt doesn't disappear. It grows with penalties and interest. The IRS doesn't negotiate. They seize assets, garnish wages, and destroy financial futures. This trap catches self-employed people and performers especially because they receive irregular income and often don't reserve money for taxes. When tax bills arrive, they can't pay, so they ignore them. The debt grows. The penalties multiply. Eventually, everything is seized. Even celebrities with millions couldn't escape this trap. The key is setting aside 30 to 40% of a regular income for taxes immediately before spending anything else. The renting forever trap. The seventh trap is never buying real estate while renting indefinitely. While renting has its merits, such as flexibility, it can also quickly become a trap that keeps you spending rather than building wealth. If someone in the middle class is renting, the rent they pay is entirely an expense and contributes nothing to personal wealth. Buying a home is an investment in residential real estate that has a long track record of generating wealth. Every rent payment is an expense with zero return. Every mortgage payment is partially building equity. Over decades, the difference becomes massive. A renter paying $2,000 monthly has spent $720,000 with nothing to show for it. A homeowner with a mortgage of $2,000 monthly has built $300,000 in equity plus property that appreciated. The trap catches people who delay buying because they don't have the perfect down payment or perfect credit. Meanwhile, they're paying rent that could cover a mortgage, building nothing. Imperfect ownership today is infinitely better than perfect renting indefinitely. The final trap is remaining financially illiterate. Many individuals are unaware of how interest rates, loan terms, and financial penalties work, and this lack of understanding can lead to poor financial decisions, such as agreeing to unfavorable loan terms. Ignorance becomes expensive. You don't understand compounding, so you delay investing. You don't understand credit, so you accept predatory terms. You don't understand taxes, so you make costly mistakes. Financial literacy is the foundation that prevents all other traps. The reality of these traps, these 7 traps work together, creating a self-reinforcing cycle. Lifestyle inflation prevents saving. No savings means no emergency fund. No emergency fund means debt. Debt requires minimum payments, preventing investment. No investment means no wealth growth. Years pass. Years become decades. A person who falls into these traps at 25 will reach 65 with nothing despite working their entire life. The person who avoids these traps will retire with security. The powerful part is that avoiding these traps doesn't require massive income. It requires discipline, understanding, and consistent action. Stop spending everything you earn. Build an emergency fund. Eliminate high-interest debt. Educate yourself financially. Start investing whatever you can. Buy real estate when possible. The traps are designed to catch everyone, but they only hold you if you remain unaware.